It's been 34 years since the first human being was born via a surrogate mother. Elizabeth Kane gave birth to a baby girl who she then handed over to the biological father and his wife, though never accepted the agreed $11,000 payment and would later claim it had been a huge mistake. Not long after that, the 1985 case of Baby M captivated and divided the world. Her birth mother refused to hand her over to the couple paying her to carry the pregnancy, leading to the first legal test of surrogacy arrangements in the US. Since then, through intermittent attention and fuzzy legal frameworks, many thousands of babies have been born in all kinds of surrogacy arrangements, altruistic and commercial, traditional and gestational, to single parents and gay parents by friends and family members or by complete strangers on the other side of the world. In the past month, the world's eyes have turned to the booming and poorly regulated commercial surrogacy industry, thanks to the case of baby Gammy, born with Down syndrome to a Thai surrogate and, depending on who you believe, abandoned by or withheld from his Australian biological parents. At the other end of the scale are the fairy tales, loving families blessed with children that they otherwise could never have, with no money changing hands. But Kajsa Ekis Ekman, Swedish feminist author and founder of the Feminists Against Surrogacy network, argues they are too rare to justify us allowing the practice at all.
I think that in 10 or 20 years, if we don't stop surrogacy, we're going to have a monster at our hands. We're going to have an industry which involves trafficking, as we already are seeing now in Thailand and China. You're seeing all these kind of cases where, for example, the intended parents, the buyers as I call them, don't want the child because it's disabled or, Down syndrome, something is wrong with it. We also have custody battles in India even, where the biological mothers are saying we want to keep these children. So we already have these things happening, and I think if we don't stop this industry, we're going to have a monster at our hands, which just grows and grows, where women are treated like chattel.
Ekman calls the practice reproductive prostitution, a description also used by the world's first surrogate, Elizabeth Kane, in her book Birth Mother.
So anyone nowadays who wants a child and who's not willing to bear it herself, or in the case that it's a man or two men or a man with an infertile wife, you can just basically order a woman to carry the child for you. And after she's delivered it, you pay her a sum of, depending on where in the world she is, a couple of $1,000s. You take the child, she will never see it again. And I think that goes against the rights of women and the rights of children and human dignity in general.
What about when there isn't money involved?
First of all, we have to remember that that barely exists. Say you were to adopt a law that states that you can only have children for somebody in the family. Say your sister, your daughter, that can't have children. That sounds really nice, doesn't it? But think about it. If I have one sister and she can't have kids and I'm the only one that can help her, think about the pressure that I would receive from her. Her telling me, you already have kids. What about me? Help me out. And all families are not equal. There are lots of complicated families, where oppression occurs and things like that. Second of all, we have to consider it from the legal point of view. If we are to legalize altruistic surrogacy and forbid all arrangements that include money, how will you know that, for example, somebody in Sweden doesn't bring a woman from Eastern Europe saying she's my friend, she's willing to do this, and who knows whether she's being paid under the table.
But successful altruistic surrogacy arrangements can and do exist. Should we really stop those entered into voluntarily between people of equal standing with care and communication?
Mary and I have been messaging each other every day now for 3 years. It's not always about the twins or anything, it's just about life.
Fish and chips and Coke. Get some babysitters.
We met through a mutual friend. Somebody approached me and said that they had a friend that was looking for somebody to carry a child for them. We started emailing for about 3 months, and they were long emails. They were a couple of pages each time about everything about our life, about our family, how we were raised. So it's been a 3-year journey. And after 3 IVF rounds, we finally were lucky enough to fall pregnant with the twins.
There won't be any secrets from the twins, so we're telling the twins up front
that we created them, however, Emma actually carried you.
And I'm Auntie Emma and my husband's Uncle Paul. And we get to spoil them like they're our own, but they're not.
I can sort of judge people quite well, I think I can. But when I first turned up here in Emma's driveway, we had Ella Mason come running out, open arms, Emma come running out. Hello, lovely to meet you, finally. Big hug, big kisses, few tears. We just clicked.
Cup of coffee be good in. Hope you got the roast going.
I just knew that it's something that I could do. I can carry children, be a gestational surrogate and not feel attached. I've had my family, I'm done. And to make an impact on somebody's life is priceless.
My whole life before surrogacy was just IVF. I focused on calendars, my period, medications, time off work, flying to Brisbane, round after round of IVF. And I couldn't get pregnant.
And then the doctor said, that's it for you, Mary.
That's it, no more. The only way you'll ever become a mum is a surrogate.
I think even ethically there is a problem with altruistic surrogacy, which is the idea that a woman's body exists for others, that a woman is supposed to sacrifice her own body to make other people happy.
I don't find it any different than donating your own organs. You know, I'd donate a kidney to a loved one if they needed it.
Got to be that special person to be a surrogate. Got to have a heart of gold.
I could not imagine having to crave children for 17 years. For the people that don't agree with surrogacy, I just hope that they don't have to know what it's like to go through fertility issues and not be able to produce your own children.
And second thing, that a child is something that you can exchange. That as a mother, you don't have obligations to the child that you give birth to, but that you can just, sign it over to somebody else. And that goes against also the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, in which a child has the right to its parents.
I chose to stay in Australia so I could be present for scans, be present for the birth, and have that ongoing forever relationship with my surrogate. I wanted my twins to actually know Emma and to stay in regular contact with Emma.
And then Mary came down in the last 2 weeks and she cleaned my house and cooked tea and done my washing and
Yelled at the kids.
And packed their school lunches and took over my role and looked after me really well.
It's our relationship as well as the twins. It's just a happy ending. Wonderful, wonderful ending.
And she knows that I do not want the twins.
No.
She knows that I love them to bits and I will have them for weekends that her and Pete want to go away for a romantic weekend and work on their marriage. But yeah, I'm happy just to see them once or twice a year like I do with my other nieces and nephews, and that's how the relationship will be with them.
Ekman acknowledges that there can be happy outcomes like Mary and Emma's, but says they are the exception to the rule.
But we're going to see a backlash too. We're going to see these women speak up. We're going to see feminists, starting to understand what this issue is about, because as far as now they haven't. And we're also going to see the children of surrogacy coming out more and more. But I think we need to ask ourselves the question, is it worth it? What are the positive effects of surrogacy? Well, that's kind of easy to answer. The people who can't have kids can have children, genetically related children. So that's good for them. The negative effects are that women are being seen as breeders, that children are being seen as products, that we're starting to have an industry where basically women and children are bought and sold, which then leads to pimps kidnapping women. And I think if you balance these things out, it's kind of clear that we don't need surrogacy to solve the problem of childlessness. I think there are other ways to do that. We can rethink the way that we have families. We can adopt, especially if you have a child with a woman who's not your partner, you can still raise the child with her. If you are a single man, if you're a gay couple, why not involve the mother? Why pay her to surrender her child? Why not let her have the child as well? Raise it together. I mean, I think that's a way of rethinking the family.
I've had a few people make negative comments to myself that they don't agree.
It's in God's hands, blah,
It's in
blah,
God's
blah.
hands, blah, blah, blah. And I just basically say to them nicely, you haven't walked in my shoes. And how many children do you have? So,
How many children do you tuck in at night, every night?
this is my only option. I've got no other option. I would adopt if they would allow me, but I can't. And Emma saved me. She basically came and saved me. I call her my hero.
Would you do it again?
Never say never, but probably not. But I've still got a good 10 years of childbearing in me.
And I've got my family, my fairy tales finally complete. So I'm over the moon. Very grateful. Very grateful.